Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're looking at the SPY, the IWM, the Qs, the DIA, and the IYT. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly timeframes. We use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. If you like the videos, go to the website, sign up for the free membership, and click down here in the right-hand corner and subscribe to YouTube. All right, guys, daily chart, SPY, 36 million on the day, 26 cents up, a little bit down after hours, not a great shake. So we got a half hour left of the after hours section or session. So guys, right into the 20 MA, gap fill, 750 retrace, got rejected, came right back in and closed pretty much right on top of the 618 on this smaller retrace level, guys. From this high pivot to this low pivot, we're still inside this bar, slightly bearish, but overall we are still bullish, still back above the 50 MA, and the 200 MA still below the 20 MA, so a little bit weak stance. Bulls, guys, you got to get this thing going. You got a great pattern going here. It's got to start popping up, filling or getting to these high pivots, high pivot, all-time high 245.01, and then possibly higher prices. I'm still looking at 250 to 253 area, and then we'll take it from there. If it starts popping, this thing starts turning over, gets back below the 50, comes down here by this pivot low here too, right around the 240. That's going to be good support, as well as that trend line. You got some pivot support, gap fill. Here, let me push this one down. This one's gap fill right around 234.61, but ultimately I still think everything's coming down to the 200 MA if it has not touched it in a while. Just like everything else, the SPY hasn't touched it in months. So we'll have to see what happens with this one in the next probably next week or so. I want to see the weekly close on this one and see where if it closes below the 50, above the 50, if it starts climbing and gets to the all-time highs. But it'll be interesting how this thing chops around. Light volume should keep grinding sideways to up. Heavier volume, this should start to grind down and possibly get us in these gap fills and stuff like that. But look at this, they gap, gap, gap. All those gaps up those days become great support, guys. So they know exactly what they need to do to hold these markets up. Is that coincidence, or is that just building support levels on this thing when this thing comes down for buy the dip mentality? So think about that one. Volume still 36 million. Let's go on to the IWM. IWM, 17 million, a little bit light volume, 61 cents down. It was the weak horse out of all of them. It came back into this pivot high, pivot low, 20 MA. You had a little bit of a trend line coming back in here and got rejected, came right back down and closed inside this little bit down, sideways bearish pattern. Still above the 50 and the 200, strong stance, but back below the 20 MA. So bulls, you got to get above, fill the gap, continue higher. Then this one could go to 143.75, 145, 150, and then we'll take it from there just like the SPY. If it goes down and this pattern keeps going sideways, maybe into Friday, then I think we're going to sell. We'll probably come to this low pivot and then the 200 MA. You got some little pivots here, little pivot there, but ultimately, well, let's draw this one in a little bit more. You got this one still, and then you got this one down here, which is going to be big as well. So you got a lot of support, just like there's a lot of resistance. I still think we're coming down to this red line, which is the 200 MA. I'm going to stretch that one out a little bit too. But you have great support here, and I don't even have these lines. You got support here, support there. So IWM, guys, still a little bit weak, should be leading. Now setting up in a little bit bearish pattern. To get out of this pattern, you got to get above the 20 MA and come up to the fill this gap, and then this pattern will be off the table. So let's watch out for that. I'm going to pull this fib off there, though. And right now, just chopping around up here. Let's see where this thing goes in the next couple days. Qs now. Qs were a little bit stronger than, well, 60.65. Yeah, it was pretty much a strong horse on the day. Still back below here. Remember, we've been talking about this bearish pattern for a while. They retraced it up, kissed it up in here. There's another retrace level where that was the 750, and then boom, pulled back. We did close below this big red bar, though, and it did recapture it on this one. Still below the 20 and the 50. This is big right here for the bulls, guys. This thing, they got to gap this thing up and get this thing running. We still have a gap fill. A little bit of a pivot here too as well around the 140 and ultimately 142.29 pivot. Let's see if we can march through that. If it cannot march through this, or maybe go up a little bit and go sideways in a bullish pattern for more up movement, and then it will be above the MAs, we'll watch for that as well. So but right now, guys, it's kind of down and sideways, looking a little bit weak. Got the retrace here, kind of got the retrace there back into the moving averages. Again, a gap up and a go would be nice for the bulls. If this has a little bit of trouble, we'll see if it goes sideways and then for the pop, and if it just comes right back in and reverses, then we're most likely going to have lower prices to come. Big area coming down, 135.93, that pivot. If not, we're coming to fill some gaps down here eventually. Big one here around 132.68, and I'm going to say it again, guys. February this 200 MA started, hasn't touched it in a long time. it is pretty stretched from this one. Eventually, this will be the target wherever that be. This will curl up as price stays up here, chopping around and going up and down. But eventually, this one will be down here, whether it takes a month, whether it takes 6 months. Just watch for that. That's just a normal play. When things get stretched from the 200, they like to come back to home base. That's all I'm saying with that one. I mean, this one could curl up to 142, the 200 moving average, and it comes down $3. So, because it's been chopping around for, 42 months. So, all right, guys, the DIA still a little bit strong, still back above the 50, the 20, the 200 MAs. Bullish stance here, just chopping around, and let's see what happens. And even overall, up and then just big chop. Got a little bit of a march here, more chop. This is just kill the puts, guys. Right here, you had to pull it off for money. Right here wasn't bad for a one-day move. Couple good down days, but mostly just grind. Volume was really light on this one today, so there was just no participation in the markets. They held them all off. Most stocks rallied, couple of them pulled back a little bit, and that's just the weak ones. People taking profits, maybe going into earnings. Again, guys, earnings season's coming up. The indexes are okay, but you got to keep an eye on these big ones like Amazon or Google or Apple, Facebook, any of those. See where those are going and then watch the indexes. If those go up, those should move. Those go down, it could put a drag on the market. So watch for that. But the DIA, guys, nothing wrong on the daily. Still back above the all the MAs, bullish stance. Let's see if this one continues higher. If it continues lower, well, higher, watch my videos, 220, 225 to 230 area. You have a trend line up in here. Here, let's click this. Put this down a little bit. Right up in there around 230. So let's see if it goes up there. And if this thing starts to slide and gets back below the MAs, again, 200 MA will be my target. You have this little pivot gap fill coming up around 203, and then the 200 MAs right around $200. And there's a couple gaps fills right over here and great support off this consolidation. So let's see if we come down again. Nothing wrong, like a broken record. Still holding these highs here. Let's see what happens after this bullish pattern. Up 230, 225, 220, down. You're looking at 204 to 200, maybe getting to this 197 or so. And if it really goes, 192. So you got your pretty good up move, you got your pretty good down move. We're pretty much in between the whole area. So let's see what happens in the by the Friday close and the following weeks, guys. It might be a little bit quiet. We are going into summer, but we'll see. I still think there's going to be a little more volatility, but again, who knows? Light volume continues. We won't have anything. We'll get individual stocks going up and down. But the indexes will be pretty much just holding strong and chugging along forward. All right, so the IYT or the transports made new intraday highs, came right back in, did not get followed through like we were talking about on Friday. So this thing looks like, let's see if we could chop around above this 173.88 area. That was the old all-time high. Let's see if we could chop and then possibly move higher. 175 to 180, 185, I wouldn't rule it out if we had a great pattern. Still back above the 20, the 50, the 200 MA. This one's curling in the price, or it looks like it's going to want to eventually. That does that, guys. Boom, we're possibly going up. If that does not set the fuse to the skyrocket, then we might end up breaking down, coming through here. When a lot of these patterns, guys, at all-time highs, when they fail, we sometimes tend to come down a little bit faster. Again, like every other one, 200 MA is one of your targets. Let me pull this out. This is old. We pull that out. I want to put a new retrace in. I'm going to take it from this low to that high for now. It doesn't mean it's going to, if we go higher, then I'll change it up. But going down now, guys, 20 MA is going to be good. The 50 MA, the 382, but 750 with the 200 moving average, that's not bad either. A couple gaps, and then ultimately 157.64. Up 175, 180, 185, etc. Let's see what pattern is develops. Right now, it's slightly bullish above the MAs. Looking to possibly go up. Let's see what we get in the next 3 to 4 days. By Friday, like I said. All right, guys. Again, if you like these videos, subscribe down here in the corner, or go to my website and sign up for the membership. It's free. Again, thanks for stopping by, watching my videos. God bless. See you on the charts.